is loyalism? What does it mean to be patriotically British and American in 1775? It means a common culture spanning the 13 colonies, the West Indies, the East Indies, and everywhere that Great Britain is ruling throughout this period. What does it mean to be British and American? Well, it typically means, but not always, that you speak English. You can speak German, you can speak Yiddish, you can speak different Iroquoian languages, etc., but typically English. It means that you're British, or identify as such. It means that you're from any number of groups, but they swear loyalty, at least indirectly, to King George III. It also means that you might have local labels or family ties or even broad umbrellas like the fact that I'm a Yankee from New England. It also means that you're British. It means that you're Protestant, probably, or at least ruled by a Protestant monarch who's Anglican, even if you're not. It means that you're British. That's important. It means that you're anti-French, typically, xenophobically so. It means that you're British. That's key. It means that you're anti-Catholic, because there simply aren't that many Catholic Americans in the colonies at this time, and Catholics are seen as this boogeyman, this fifth column that will undermine our liberties as long as they're kept in Canada. It means that you're British. It means that you're ruled here in New Hampshire, at least, by the 1692 charter established by King William and Queen Mary. It means that you live, by your own assessment, under the most enlightened government system in the world that secures your liberties, freedom of the press, separation of powers, a small military controlled by civil authority, and a diverse and unified empire spanning the globe from India to the Philippines to parts of, again, Africa, that is bringing trade and goods and peoples from all over that Atlantic world and beyond. It also means you're British, but why would you call yourself a loyalist again, even if you just took for granted all these things that I said when that starts to become an active choice by the 1770s? Maybe you're tied by ethnicity to Great Britain, and so you might have more loyalty to that recent ethnic tie in a kingdom that you still recognize over the seas than your patriot neighbors. You also might just have cultural ties to Great Britain. So for instance, men who served in the last French and Indian War as part of British regiments and have no interest in fighting against the British Army if they've been part of it. There's also the fact that you might have economic links. So consider that you might buy for your children land grants that are going to be made legally valid by the New Hampshire governor or the New York governor, and that the ruling of the British courts in your favor might mean a future for you and your kids or not. And so you have a vested interest in what Great Britain decides. There's also the factor of local politics. So, petty squabbles among business people and amongst community leaders over things like boycotts, non-importation, or the competitions of local communities over trade, over religion, over church attendance, etc. You might just have personal motivations as well. You might have experienced mob violence against loyalists. You might have been attacked yourself or threatened. You might believe very strongly that you can't go against the king as an Anglican, or that you can't wage war as a Quaker, or that you can't take up arms against your rightful sovereign as a God-fearing person. Ideologically, you might be fine with fighting British soldiers and have problems with British Parliament, but you might have very real issues with breaking away and the Declaration of Independence that Americans published in 1776. You might take issue, as many do in the colonies in London, with the fact that a lot of leading sons of liberty racially enslaved tens of thousands of people of color, and see a contradiction in those terms. There's a man who writes in 1774 in a pamphlet, Samuel Seabury, "Do as you please. If you like it better, choose your committee, or suffer it to be chosen by half a dozen fools in your neighborhood. Open your doors to them to let them examine your tea canisters and molasses jugs and your wives and your daughters' petticoats. Brown and cringe and tremble and quake. Fall down and worship your sovereign lord, the mob. And shall my house be entered into and my mode of living inquired into by a domineering committee man? Before I submit, I will die. Live you and be slaves." More succinctly, Samuel Johnson in 1775 says, "How is it that we hear the loudest yelps for liberty amongst the drivers of Negroes? Most famously with Washington, Jefferson, and other leading patriots, they own collectively 400,000 strong enslaved people of largely Afro-Caribbean descent in America."
Which of these reasons to remain loyal to Britain can you identify with? To learn more about Loyalist motivations, be sure to watch the next video in our series, Anti-Patriot Motivations. This video and the rest of our festival virtual content has been made possible by our sponsor, New Hampshire State Council on the Arts. To find all of our virtual content, you can visit our website, www.independencemuseum.org. While you're there, also be sure to check out our festival page. There is still one festival day left of in-person celebration. We hope to see you there.